Hello everyone. Today we will learn about beam load calculation. Okay. So this is your beam layout plan, and this is your column, and dotted line is nothing but your beam line. Then these are the hinge, or this is a joint between the two beams. Okay. There is no column at that point. Then so this is your ground level. So above the ground level or up to the plinth level, that is nothing but your plinth beam. Then and above the superstructure or below the first floor of the superstructure, this is the ground floor. Then first floor superstructure, that is nothing but your floor beam. And near in the terrace level, that is nothing but your roof beam. All beam calculation we'll see step by step. Okay. Today I am going to take the part of the plinth beam calculation. So this is your foundation or footing column. If the column projection footing will be below the ground level, it will be here. This is your nothing but your soil. Okay. Next, so this is your plan layout. We'll see what are the different types of support. We have fixed support, simply supported support. Okay, these are the main two types which we are going to see in the present problems. Okay, so first of all, what is the difference between simply supported support and the fixed support? Suppose this is your beam. Just assume that this is your beam, and if you hold your finger, or if the fixed support is there, is if both the side the beam is supported by column. Okay, suppose this is your column and it is supported by the column. See here. So there is no rotation. This rotation will be 0 at the fixed support. Okay, it will be fixed or rigid at the joint. So the beam cannot rotate at any direction. So that is nothing but your fixed support. Suppose if it is simply supported. See, this is your suppose this joint is simply supported, somewhat like this. Okay, it can rotate in one direction. Okay, wherever the hinge is provided, opposite to that you can it will rotate your direction. It can rotate. That is nothing but your simply supported. For schematic diagram, so suppose if it is supported by two column, see here, one beam. Okay, suppose here is a column, so it is fixed at this junction. And suppose here is a column, so it will be fixed. So this is your beam. There is no rotation at this point. So here the rotation will be 0. This theta will be 0 if the beam bends. So beam bends in the midspan. Okay. This is the elastic curve of the fixed support. Here it will be 0. Theta is 0. Rotation is 0 at this point. Suppose if it is simply supported it is nothing but there will be a hinge. Okay, this is a simply supported, and at this point there you will have some rotation. So this will be your elastic curve of the simply supported. So this is nothing but, suppose this is A and this is B, this is nothing but theta A, and here you will have theta B. So there will be a rotation. See, we simply supported here, it will rotate. Okay, if beams bend like this, it will rotate at the hinge itself. If it is fixed, it will rotation at the hinge will be, or rotation at the support will be 0. So it is fixed, it doesn't rotate. That is the difference between fixed support and simply supported support. Okay, so usually in the field or in the construction site, the column and beam junction, that point is nothing but we will, while calculating, we will consider it as fixed support. Okay, see here, suppose this is your fixed support. Suppose this is your B1 beam according to this layout. Here there is a column, so it will be a fixed over this point, and again here there is a column, so it is fixed over this point. And at this point there is one junction of the joint where their wall will be there. So at that point you will have any pinned or roller support. Okay. So here there will be one reaction. So this is the schematic diagram of this beam B1. Okay. This is your beam. Okay. And this is your column. Column will continue to the story. Okay. So at this point you will have negative reinforcement region of the beam. Okay. And here you will have column reinforcement. Column reinforcement. See here, the rods you have from beam and column is clubbed together. So this nothing but your fixed support. Suppose if it is simply supported, okay, just two walls are present at the, suppose the beam is above the wall. There is no column in the joints of the beam. Suppose this is your beam, okay, and it is supported by wall. This is your wall. This is simply supported. Okay. So in that case, the beam reinforcement will be like this. This is your positive reinforcement and our bottom reinforcement is negative reinforcement, and this will be a stirrup. Okay. So this is simply supported support. Okay. First we'll find out the beam load calculation for this beam. So this is a plinth level. There is no slab in this level. Okay. So load just will be your load of this superstructure and load of plaster that we will provide inside and outside of the superstructure or brickwork. Then self weight of the beam. These three you have to consider for the plinth beam load calculation. We will see step by step. First we will consider, see here, this we will consider it as continuous beam. Okay. Okay, first we will take this B1. Beam B1. Draw free body diagram. So this is your support column, and here you have reaction in support. Okay. Now we have to find out what is the load acting on that beam. Okay. This you have to find out. First, before finding that, first you have to know the cross section of the beam. Okay. First assume the width. Width usually we'll assume width of the wall. Okay, how much wall thickness you are going to take, the same width will usually assume the width of beam. Okay, so here width of wall is, or thickness of wall is, thickness of wall is 230 mm. Okay, so assume width between 200 to 300 mm usual. So here we will assume 230 mm. Width of wall is 230 mm. So width of beam will be 230 mm. Next, to find out effective depth, we have one formula, that is D is equal to span by ratio, that is 10 to 15. Usually we assume this ratio for simply supported and continuous beam. Okay, for simply supported and continuous beam, effective depth we will calculate based on this span by 10 to 15. Okay, so D will be span. Here for if we are considering the continuous beam, just take the maximum loading span. Okay, suppose there is a long variation between the span. Here it is 3 meter and 2 meter, so you can take length as 3 meter. Suppose if it is 4 and 2 or 5 and 2, there is a large difference between the span, then you find out the section different for each point. Okay, from this junction to this junction you put different beam size, and for this also you put different size. Suppose the span is too lengthy. Okay, otherwise you can take directly as bigger span value, that is 3000 mm. Span is 3000 divided by 10 to 15, you can assume anywhere 3000. I will just take 15. So 3000 by 15 will be 200 mm. Okay. So overall depth D is nothing but D is small d plus effective cover. Okay, and this effective cover is nothing but suppose this is your beam cross section. Okay, this is 230 and this will be your capital D. Okay, so this is nothing but your small d, and this part is nothing but your effective cover. I'll just mark it as D dash. Okay, so D dash consists of, see here, D dash is nothing but this is cover of the beam, how much gap you have to provide below the reinforcement, that is nothing but your nominal cover. So usually for beam you will consider nominal cover 20 to 25. So suppose nominal cover is 20, then plus, see here, it is nothing but half of the, this is your bar size. Bar size is, suppose if it is 16 mm, it is nothing but half of dia or half of 16 mm. So suppose I will assume this has 16, so 16 by 2, and here we will have shear stirrup. To resist shear force, we have stirrup. Usually we will consider 8 mm stirrup. Okay, plus 8. This will be a nominal cover. Okay, just here directly you can assume D dash as around 50 mm. You can assume 40, 50 depending upon this beam size, maximum beam size what we are going to consider. Okay, just I will assume here 50. So your overall depth will be D, which is nothing but small d is 200 plus D dash is 50. So overall depth is nothing but 250 mm. Therefore B1 beam size is 230 is the width and 250 is your overall depth. This is your beam size which you are going to consider. Okay. Then another thing, in the practical they will have one thumb rule. Okay, you can directly assume this beam depth by using one thumb rule, that is nothing but side usually they consider 1 feet equal to 1 inch depth. Suppose here 12 feet is your span. Okay, this is nothing but your span. You will assume 12 inch depth. This is overall depth. Okay, this is the thumb rule they are going to follow in the construction side, or this is the actual procedure how we have to calculate the depth, overall depth of the beam. Okay, same we can provide for this B3 also. Okay, it is also 3 meter span. So first step, load calculation. Here this is a plinth beam calculation, so there won't be any slab load coming on the beam. So directly first weight of brickwork load. Okay, that I have taught in the previous video. That is weight of brickwork is height of the wall. So here 3 minus, I will consider height of story is 3 meter. Okay, so 3 minus, you have to minus the depth of the beam, so it is 0.25 into thickness of the wall, that is nothing but 0.23 into density of the brickwork. Density of brickwork is 19.2. Okay, so your value will be 12.14 kilonewton per meter. Next, weight of plaster. Here we will assume inside plus outside 12 mm plaster. Okay, so for that case, same thing, height into thickness of the plaster into density of plaster. So height is same, 3 minus 0.25 into thickness of plaster is 0.012. You are considering for both inside and outside, so it is into 2 times. Then the density of plaster is 20. Okay, so it is 1.32 kilonewton per meter. Next, self weight of beam. Self weight of beam. Beam size is, cross section is 230 by 250. Write it in meter, 0.23 by 0.25. Density of concrete is 25. So it is 1.44 per meter. Therefore, total load, add all, you will have 12.14 plus 1.32 plus 1.44. That is nothing but 14.9 kilonewton per meter. Therefore, total factored load, you have to consider for factor of safety for that. So that is given in the code book. What is the factor of safety that we have to consider for beam and column and all. So here factor load, the factor of safety you are going to consider is 1.5. Okay, so 1.5 into 14.9, that is nothing but 22.35. 22.35 kilonewton per meter. Now using this load, now you can analyze this beam, continuous beam, using moment distribution method or slope deflection method or Carney's rotation method. That analysis part I'll take in the next class. Okay, so now just I'll show how to calculate the load. Suppose now for that B3 beam, the cross section is same, 230 by 250 because it is 3 meter span. So beam, see here you have fixed support and again here you have fixed supports. So this is your B3 and your load is 22.35 kilonewton per meter. Okay. Next we will go to the next beam, that is club of beam 2, beam 6, B5. Everything, the span is 4 meter. So same size you can, because there is no any slab load coming. So we can club those group or we can group this beam. Suppose there is a slab load, then you have to separate one by one. Okay, you have to calculate one by one. Here we can take a group, that is group of beam, that which and all B2, B6 and B5. Okay, first step, assume B, that is 230 mm, then effective depth D, that is nothing but span by 10 to 15, I will take 15. Span is nothing but how much? 4000 divided by 15. So effective depth will be 266.67 mm. Overall depth is nothing but D plus D dash. This is nothing but effective cover. Okay, 266.67 plus 40 of 50. It will be around 306.67 mm. Round it off to next 25 number. Okay, round it off for each 25 mm. So here 306, next 25 mm is nothing but 325. Okay, therefore beam size is 230 by 325 mm. Next, similarly you have to calculate. So weight of brickwork, here just if there is a variation in height, okay, then everything will be same, because we are going to minus depth of the beam. So here depth of beam is 325 mm and 0.23 into 19.2. Next, weight of plaster, same 12 mm thickness, so 3 minus 0.325 into 2 into 0.012 into 20 is the density. So the value is 11.81 kilonewton per meter, and this is 1.2. Next, self weight of beam. .23 into 0.325 into 25. So value is 1.87. Total is nothing but 14.96. Therefore factored load is 1.5 into 14.96, that is nothing but 22.44. Okay. Next, last, here there is a propped beam, so that is beam number 4. The span is 2 meter. Okay. So D is equal to span by 15, that is 2000 by 15. You will have 133. Capital D is 133.33 plus 40. You have 173. Therefore round it off to, therefore D is 175 mm. Beam size is 230 by 175. 3 minus 0.175 into 0.23 into 19.2. Weight of plaster 3 minus 0.175 into 2 into 0.012 into 20. self weight of beam 0.23 to 0.175 into 25. Calculate and get the value. Total load 12.48 kilonewton per meter, 1.36, 1.01. Therefore, write directly total factored load 1.5 into total load, that is nothing but 14.85, which is equal to 22.28. Okay, this is your factor load. Now I'll draw the free body diagram of all the beams. So first I'll show B1. This is nothing but your column. So fixed support. Here you have reaction. This you consider hinge support, and total load for B1 is 22.35. Okay. Similarly for beam B3, both sides it is fixed. Load is same, 22.35. Cross section is 230 by 250. Okay. Next group B2, B5, B6. Cross section 230 by 325. Okay. So here B2 is both side fixed. Load, factor load is 22.44. Meter span. Here it is 3 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter. Next is B5. See here B5. If you see like this, here it will be fixed support and there it will be hinge or roller. Okay, hinge support. It is like propped cantilever. So it is 24.4. Next span is 4 meter. B6. Similarly, here at this side, other end is fixed support, and here you have hinge. This is nothing but 22.44 kilonewton per meter. Span is 4 meter. Okay. Last beam is B4. This is a small beam, that is propped cantilever beam or overhanging beam, not overhanging, propped cantilever beam. So here there is reaction. So this is how much? 22.28 kilonewton per meter. Span is 2 meter. Beam size is 230 by 175 mm. Okay. So now using once you get this load distribution or load value, now using any analysis method you can analyze the beam and get the value of bending moment. Okay. You can get the value of bending moment and shear force. Once you get this bending moment and shear force, you can design the beam. That we'll get to know in the next class. Thank you. Please subscribe my channel to get more videos.